The day humanity realized it was not alone in the universe was not a day of celebration. It was a day of devastation. The skies over New York darkened as alien ships, sleek and ominous, descended upon the Earth. What followed was not the hopeful first contact humanity had long imagined, but an overwhelming display of power, a ruthless declaration of dominance. Reports of unidentified objects entering Earth's atmosphere began early that morning. At first, military radars dismissed the readings as glitches, anomalies caused by solar interference or faulty equipment. But as the objects grew closer, their purpose became terrifyingly clear. Civilians described the alien ships as massive, triangular crafts, their surfaces smooth and reflective like liquid metal. They moved with an eerie silence, unaffected by gravity, and hovered ominously above the skyline. Initial attempts to communicate were met with silence. Governments sent out signals, hoping for a response, but the ships gave no acknowledgement. For hours they hung in the sky, casting long shadows over the city as fear and speculation gripped the world. Social media buzzed with images and videos of the crafts, and hashtags like #1 first contact and #1 alien invasion trended globally. Then, without warning, the first plasma cannon was fired. A beam of energy, impossibly bright and blinding, lanced out from the ship, striking a government building at the heart of the city. The structure disintegrated instantly, leaving no rubble, no debris, just an empty space where it had once stood. The precision was terrifying. This was not random destruction. It was a calculated display of power. The alien plasma cannons were unlike any weapon humanity had ever encountered. Conventional weapons, even the most advanced missiles, rely on kinetic energy or chemical reactions. The aliens' plasma technology operated on an entirely different level. The beams emitted intense heat and energy, capable of disassembling matter at the atomic level. Buildings, vehicles, and even the ground itself dissolved under their assault. Eyewitness accounts described the horrifying effects of the plasma strikes. One firefighter, Elena Martinez, shared her experience. "We were rushing toward the government district when the first strike hit. I saw it, this beam of light, so bright it hurt to look at. The next second, the entire building was gone, like it had never existed. Cars on the street melted into pools of metal. People, they just disappeared. There was nothing left." The destruction was methodical. The aliens targeted key infrastructure, power plants, bridges, and communication hubs. Each strike was precise, leaving no room for error. Emergency responders found themselves powerless, unable to reach affected areas or even coordinate their efforts. The once thriving city was reduced to a wasteland of glowing craters and empty streets. As if the plasma cannons were not enough, the aliens unleashed another weapon, electromagnetic pulse, EMP blasts. These invisible waves of energy rendered modern technology useless, plunging entire regions into darkness. Streetlights flickered and died. Cars stalled in the middle of the road. Phones, radios, and emergency communication systems went silent, leaving the population isolated and terrified. The EMP blasts were as strategic as they were devastating. By crippling technology, the aliens ensured that no coordinated response could be mounted. Hospitals lost access to life-saving equipment. Security systems failed, leaving critical facilities vulnerable. Even military installations designed to withstand conventional attacks were rendered powerless. A military officer described the effect on their operations. "We were mobilizing our forces when the EMP hit. Our tanks and jets were dead in the water. Even our most secure systems went offline. We were blind, deaf, and defenseless." For civilians, the loss of power was more than an inconvenience. It was a life-threatening crisis. Without electricity, water pumps failed, food spoiled, and medical supplies dwindled. The absence of communication sowed confusion and panic as people struggled to understand what was happening and where to go for safety. The attack on New York became a grim case study in the effects of alien weaponry. Survivors' accounts painted a harrowing picture of fear and chaos. One resident, a teacher named Marcus Liu, described the scene. I was in the school with my students when the lights went out. At first, we thought it was just a power outage. But then we heard this humming sound, like a giant machine waking up. When we looked outside, we saw the ships. And then the first blast hit downtown. The kids were screaming. I didn't know what to do. None of us did. Another survivor, a nurse named Priya Anand, recounted the aftermath. The hospital was packed with injured people, but there was nothing we could do. The EMP fried all our equipment. We couldn't even keep the lights on. I'll never forget the look on their faces, the fear, the desperation. We felt so helpless. In the chaos, acts of heroism emerged. First responders worked tirelessly, often without equipment, to rescue trapped civilians. Volunteers formed impromptu shelters, offering food and water to those in need. These stories of resilience stood in stark contrast to the overwhelming destruction, a testament to humanity's will to survive. The psychological impact of the attack was as devastating as the physical destruction. The sheer power and efficiency of the alien weapons shattered any illusions of equality. For the first time, humanity was forced to confront its fragility, not just as individuals, but as a species. Media outlets, in their final broadcast before the EMP silenced them, described the attack as a new era of vulnerability. Analysts debated whether the aliens were sending a message or simply testing their capabilities. The one consensus was this: Earth had never faced an adversary like this before. In the days that followed, fear turned to despair. Rumors spread of similar attacks in other cities, each more devastating than the last. People speculated about the aliens' intentions. Were they conquerors, exterminators, or something else entirely? The lack of answers only deepened the sense of helplessness. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity began to regroup. Leaders convened emergency meetings, scientists studied the remnants of alien attacks, and civilians adapted to the new reality. The first attack had exposed humanity's weaknesses, but it also ignited a determination to fight back. As the broadcaster, my role is to document these events, to bear witness to the unfolding story of survival and resistance. And as I reflect on the devastation of that first attack, one thought lingers. In one strike, they showed us their power and our fragility. As humanity grapples with the scale of this attack, one question lingers. If this is just the beginning, what horrors lie ahead? The first attack on humanity showcased a fraction of the alien arsenal, and even that was enough to devastate entire cities. Since then, analysts, scientists, and military strategists have worked relentlessly to catalog the weaponry of our invaders. What has emerged is a picture of terrifying technological superiority, tools of destruction so advanced they seem almost magical by human standards. Each weapon reveals a chilling truth. Humanity is fighting an adversary with capabilities that far surpass our own. The alien arsenal is dominated by energy-based weapons, the most visible and devastating being their plasma cannons. Capable of obliterating matter at the atomic level, these weapons have redefined the concept of destruction. A single strike from a plasma cannon can disintegrate entire buildings, melt armored vehicles, and vaporize anything in its path. Witness accounts describe the beams as blindingly bright, with a heat so intense it can be felt from hundreds of meters away. These weapons are terrifyingly precise, striking only their intended targets while leaving the surrounding area untouched. Military analysts believe the aliens use advanced targeting systems capable of mapping molecular structures in real time. The smaller handheld plasma rifles carried by alien soldiers are no less fearsome. Unlike conventional firearms, which rely on projectiles, these rifles emit concentrated bursts of energy. The effect is immediate and horrifying. Targets are incinerated on contact, leaving no chance of survival. Soldiers who have faced these weapons describe them as impossible to counter. No armor or shield can withstand the intensity of their blasts. Scientists theorize that these weapons rely on controlled nuclear fusion, using magnetic fields to generate and direct plasma. This technology is centuries beyond human capability, and its efficiency makes our weapons seem primitive by comparison. While humans rely on chemical reactions and kinetic energy, the aliens manipulate fundamental forces of the universe. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of the alien arsenal is their ability to turn humans into unwilling agents of their will. Mind control devices, deployed in several regions, have sown chaos and distrust among civilian and military populations. Victims of these devices lose their autonomy, becoming puppets for alien commands. The devices themselves are small, often embedded within the environment or dropped from alien drones. They emit frequencies that interfere with neural activity, effectively hijacking the brain's communication pathways. Those affected exhibit blank expressions, robotic movements, and a complete lack of free will. One survivor, a soldier named David Kane, recounted his experience. "We were patrolling the outskirts of the city when we found a group of civilians acting strange. They didn't respond to our calls. When we approached, they turned on us. Their movements were unnatural, their eyes empty. It was like fighting ghosts in human form." Attempts to shield against the devices have largely failed. Materials that block electromagnetic waves offer limited protection, but the alien technology seems to operate on a level that defies conventional understanding. Neuroscientists believe the devices manipulate quantum-level processes in the brain, an area where human knowledge is still rudimentary. The aliens have also demonstrated their ability to weaponize the very environment. Machines capable of manipulating weather, geological activity, and radiation have been deployed in several locations, turning nature itself into a tool of destruction. In South America, a massive alien structure was seen emitting pulses into the atmosphere. Within hours, a superstorm formed, unleashing winds of over 300 kilometers per hour and torrential rains that flooded entire cities. The storm dissipated as quickly as it had formed, leaving scientists baffled and survivors traumatized. Elsewhere, seismic activity has been linked to alien interference. In Asia, a previously dormant fault line experienced a sudden, violent earthquake, leveling cities and displacing millions. Geological surveys detected unnatural vibrations preceding the quake, leading experts to conclude that the aliens had triggered it deliberately. Radiation-based attacks have also been reported. In parts of Eastern Europe, fields of concentrated radiation have rendered vast areas uninhabitable. Survivors describe seeing glowing alien devices buried in the ground, emitting pulses that not only irradiate the area but also disrupt biological processes, causing illness and death. The implications of atmospheric manipulation are staggering. By controlling fundamental forces of nature, the aliens can devastate regions without deploying troops or weapons. This capability renders traditional military defenses obsolete. No bunker or shelter can protect against storms, earthquakes, or radiation. While the alien soldiers themselves remain a rare sight, their drones and autonomous machines dominate the battlefield. These machines are highly advanced, employing artificial intelligence far beyond anything humans have developed. Unlike human-operated vehicles, alien drones are fully autonomous, capable of adapting to changing conditions and making split-second decisions. Combat drones come in various forms, from small reconnaissance units to massive, heavily armed machines. The smaller drones are nearly invisible, using cloaking technology to avoid detection. They act as scouts, relaying information to larger units and coordinating attacks with uncanny precision. The larger drones are heavily armed, equipped with plasma cannons and other energy-based weapons. Their armor is impervious to human projectiles, and their movements are swift and fluid, making them nearly impossible to target. These machines are not bound by human limitations. They do not tire, hesitate, or retreat. One particularly fearsome machine, nicknamed the Reaper by soldiers, is a quadrupedal combat unit capable of traversing any terrain. It is equipped with multiple plasma weapons, defensive shields, and what appears to be an adaptive AI system that learns from every engagement. Troops who have faced the Reaper describe it as unstoppable, a predator that hunts without mercy. The technological gap between alien and human weaponry is vast. Where humans rely on mechanical and chemical systems, the aliens harness advanced energy manipulation, quantum processes, and artificial intelligence. Our most sophisticated weapons, from nuclear missiles to stealth fighters, are ineffective against their defenses. The alien shields, in particular, represent a technological marvel. These energy barriers can absorb or deflect any projectile, rendering conventional attacks useless. Scientists theorize that the shields operate on a subatomic level, creating a field that repels matter and energy alike. Efforts to reverse engineer alien technology have yielded little progress. The materials used in their weapons and machines are unlike anything found on Earth, defying analysis. Even the basic principles of their technology remain a mystery, highlighting the gulf between their capabilities and ours. Despite the challenges, scientists have developed theories about how alien weapons function. Plasma cannons, for example, are believed to use magnetic confinement to generate and direct plasma. The precision of their strikes suggests advanced targeting systems that integrate quantum computing and real-time environmental analysis. Mind control devices likely operate on a quantum level, manipulating the brain's neural networks using frequencies that bypass traditional electromagnetic shielding. Atmospheric manipulation machines appear to alter natural processes on a molecular level, perhaps by introducing energy or particles that disrupt existing systems. These theories remain speculative, but they underscore the sophistication of alien technology. Each weapon represents a mastery of science that humanity has only begun to explore. As we catalog the alien arsenal, one fact becomes disturbingly clear. Their weapons are not just tools of war. They are instruments of domination. From plasma cannons to mind control devices, each system is designed to subdue and control with terrifying efficiency. And as we uncover more about their capabilities, one question haunts us. If this is their arsenal, what chance do we really have? When the first alien ships descended, the world was stunned, but not paralyzed. Humanity responded with the full force of its ingenuity and military might. From fighter jets to underground shelters, governments and civilians alike mobilized to defend Earth. Yet, as each countermeasure was met with alien superiority, hope turned to despair. The reality of the alien invasion became clear. No defense was sufficient. The initial military response to the alien invasion was swift and decisive. Fighter jets roared into the skies, tanks rumbled through city streets, and soldiers were deployed en masse. Governments coordinated with allies to mount a global defense confident in humanity's collective strength. But the aliens were ready. The first line of attack, squadrons of fighter jets, were neutralized almost immediately. Alien ships emitted EMP blasts that disabled all electronic systems, leaving the jets powerless. Pilots described their horror as their instruments went dark and their controls became unresponsive, sending their planes plummeting to the ground. It was like they knew exactly how to counter us, said Captain Alan Rivera, one of the few pilots to eject in time. We didn't stand a chance. It wasn't even a fight. It was a massacre. On the ground, tanks and armored vehicles faced a similar fate. EMP waves rendered their engines and weapons useless, leaving them stranded and vulnerable. Alien plasma cannons targeted these immobilized vehicles with terrifying precision, reducing them to molten wreckage. Infantry units, armed with conventional rifles and explosives, found themselves completely outmatched. Plasma rifles wielded by alien soldiers incinerated entire squads before they could fire a single shot. Missiles, long considered humanity's most powerful weapons, were deployed as a last resort. Precision-guided systems targeted alien ships, but the results were catastrophic. Alien defenses employed energy shields that rendered the missiles ineffective. The shields absorbed or deflected the projectiles with ease, leaving the alien ships unscathed. General Maria Rodriguez, overseeing the missile strike on a major alien stronghold, recounted the event. "We launched everything we had. Smart missiles, cruise missiles, even bunker busters. They didn't even flinch. It was like throwing rocks at a tank. Their shields are impenetrable, and we have no idea how they work." Attempts to use nuclear weapons faced both logistical and moral challenges. While some argued that a nuclear strike might penetrate the shields, others feared the catastrophic collateral damage it could cause. There was also the grim possibility that the aliens could neutralize a nuclear attack, leaving humanity's most powerful weapon utterly ineffective and revealing just how powerless we truly were. While the military fought on the front lines, civilians scrambled to protect themselves. Cities descended into chaos as people sought refuge in whatever shelters they could find. Underground bunkers, some dating back to the Cold War, were reopened and fortified. Families converted basements into makeshift safe rooms, stockpiling food, water, and supplies. In New York, a network of abandoned subway tunnels became a sanctuary for thousands. Volunteers organized supplies and medical care, creating a fragile sense of community amidst the chaos. One survivor, a mother named Priya Sharma, described the scene. "We were packed into the tunnels, shoulder to shoulder. Everyone was scared, but at least we were together. The kids kept asking when we'd go back home. None of us had the heart to tell them the truth." Despite these efforts, no place was truly safe. Alien drones, equipped with thermal sensors and advanced AI, hunted down hidden pockets of resistance. Shelters that had once offered hope became tombs, as plasma strikes and atmospheric manipulation devices crushed any semblance of security. World leaders convened emergency summits to coordinate a global response. The United Nations, NATO, and other international organizations sought to unify their strategies, but the sheer scale of the crisis overwhelmed even the most prepared nations. Discussions about deploying nuclear weapons dominated the early days of the invasion. The stakes were immense. A nuclear strike might pierce the alien shields, but it could also provoke retaliation on an unimaginable scale. Some leaders advocated for immediate action, arguing that humanity had nothing to lose. Others urged caution, fearing that a nuclear response would only accelerate the destruction. Prime Minister Elena Novak of the United States summarized the moral dilemma. "We are facing an existential threat, but we must not lose our humanity. If we destroy ourselves in the process of fighting them, then they have already won." Meanwhile, scientific and military leaders explored alternative strategies. Efforts to reverse engineer alien technology began in earnest, with covert teams recovering debris from battlefields. The hope was to unlock the secrets of alien shields and weapons, but progress was slow. Each failed experiment underscored the immense technological gap between humanity and its invaders. As one defensive measure after another failed, the psychological toll on humanity deepened. Soldiers, once confident in their training and equipment, found themselves paralyzed by fear. Civilians, cut off from communication and electricity, struggled to maintain hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Media coverage, once a source of information and unity, faltered under the weight of the invasion. EMP blasts silenced broadcasts, leaving people isolated and unsure of the truth. Rumors spread like wildfire, feeding fear and paranoia. Was there any hope of victory? Were there even survivors left in other parts of the world? In New York, A desperate population turned to prayer and rituals, seeking solace in religion and tradition. In contrast, others succumbed to despair, believing that resistance was futile. Acts of looting and violence erupted as societal structures broke down, revealing the fragility of human civilization under such pressure. Despite the overwhelming odds, moments of unity and resilience emerged. In the United States, a coalition of nations pooled resources to establish a safe zone for refugees, providing food, water, and medical care to thousands. Volunteers risked their lives to distribute supplies and rescue survivors from devastated areas. These efforts, while small in the grand scheme, demonstrated humanity's enduring spirit. Even as military strategies failed, individuals and communities continued to fight, not with weapons, but with compassion and determination. Every defense we've mounted has crumbled, leaving us more vulnerable than ever. The aliens have shown us the fragility of our weapons, our strategies, and even our spirit. And yet, even in the face of annihilation, humanity clings to the hope that somewhere, somehow, we will find a way to fight back. The alien invasion left humanity reeling, but amidst the ruins, a new strategy began to emerge. If humanity's existing defenses were useless against alien weaponry, the only solution was to turn the enemy's strength into our own. The effort to recover and reverse engineer alien technology became a critical, desperate gamble, one that could determine the survival of the human race. As the battlefields cooled and alien forces moved on to new targets, elite teams of soldiers and engineers were deployed to retrieve whatever alien equipment they could find. These missions were perilous. Alien drones often patrolled the aftermath of their destruction, ensuring no remnants were left behind. One such mission, dubbed Operation Ember, saw a team of special forces infiltrating a ruined city to recover a downed alien drone. Captain Elena Vega, who led the mission, described the tension. "We knew the area was still crawling with drones. Every step felt like it could be our last. When we finally reached the wreckage, we realized how little we understood about what we were dealing with. The materials didn't feel like metal or plastic. It was something completely alien. The drone, though heavily damaged, provided invaluable insights into alien AI and materials. Other teams recovered fragments of plasma rifles, shield generators, and even alien energy sources. Each piece, no matter how small, became a puzzle piece in humanity's quest to understand the invaders' technology. The recovered artifacts were transported to secure facilities where scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to analyze them. These labs, scattered across the globe, became the epicenters of humanity's scientific resistance. Teams of physicists, chemists, and AI specialists collaborated to unlock the secrets of alien technology. One of the most significant breakthroughs came from studying alien plasma rifles. Dr. Amina Patel, a physicist at the Global Defense Laboratory, described the process. The energy core of the plasma rifle was unlike anything we'd ever seen. It uses magnetic confinement to stabilize plasma at temperatures hotter than the sun's surface. Replicating it was impossible with our current technology, but we managed to create a much smaller scale version that could power experimental weapons. This breakthrough led to the development of the first human-made plasma weapon, a crude but powerful prototype that could fire concentrated energy bursts. Though far less efficient than the alien rifles, it marked a critical step forward. Another team focused on alien shields, which had rendered human missiles and projectiles useless. By studying fragments of shield generators, researchers discovered that the technology operated on a quantum level, creating a field that repelled matter and energy. While replicating, the shields remained out of reach. The insights gained allowed scientists to develop stronger, more adaptive materials for human armor. The reverse engineering effort was not without its challenges. Alien technology was centuries, if not millennia, ahead of human science. and understanding it often felt like trying to decipher an advanced equation with only a basic calculator. Materials recovered from the battlefield defied conventional analysis, behaving in ways that violated known physical laws. Dr. Hiroshi Takeda, a materials scientist, described the frustration. The alloys used in their machines don't corrode, fracture, or melt under conditions that would destroy anything on Earth. They seem to have properties that change depending on how they're used, almost like they're alive. It's like trying to analyze a shape-shifting puzzle. There were also ethical dilemmas. The recovered equipment often contained traces of alien biology, raising questions about whether these devices were purely mechanical or part organic. Scientists debated whether using such materials crossed moral boundaries, while others warned of the danger of provoking the aliens by tampering with their technology. The possibility of triggering alien retaliation loomed large. Military strategists cautioned against deploying reverse-engineered weapons too soon, fearing that the aliens might respond with even greater force. Every breakthrough came with the chilling realization that humanity was playing with fire. Despite these challenges, humanity began to make progress. The partial replication of alien plasma weapons provided soldiers with a new tool in the fight against the invaders. Though the prototypes were bulky and prone to overheating, they offered a glimmer of hope in battles that had previously been one-sided. Another breakthrough came from studying alien drones. Engineers managed to decode fragments of their AI systems, leading to the creation of autonomous defense units. These drones, while far less advanced than their alien counterparts, could patrol human settlements and provide early warnings of impending attacks. Perhaps the most significant discovery was the development of energy-resistant materials inspired by alien shields. While humanity could not yet create full-scale shields, the new materials were used to reinforce bunkers and vehicles, providing much-needed protection in a war where survival often came down to seconds. With each breakthrough, a new sense of confidence began to emerge. Military leaders spoke of turning the tide, of using alien technology against its creators. But this confidence came with a dangerous edge, the risk of overestimating humanity's capabilities. The partial success of reverse-engineered weapons led some factions to advocate for an all-out offensive, using the new tools to strike directly at alien ships. Others warned that humanity was still far from understanding the full scope of alien technology. As one scientist put it, we're children playing with matches in a room full of gasoline. One wrong move and we could destroy ourselves. This tension between caution and ambition defined the next phase of humanity's resistance. The question was not just whether we could use alien technology, but whether we should, and at what cost. Despite the risks, the reverse engineering effort provided humanity with something it desperately needed: hope. For the first time since the invasion began, there was a sense that victory, however distant, might be possible. Each breakthrough, no matter how small, was a reminder that humanity had not yet given up. In one of the most symbolic moments of the war, a squad of soldiers armed with prototype plasma weapons successfully defended a refugee camp from an alien drone attack. Though the weapons were far from perfect, the sight of humans fighting back with alien technology became a rallying cry for resistance movements around the world. The aliens' greatest strength has always been their technological superiority. But now, piece by piece, humanity is beginning to unlock their secrets. It's a fragile hope, but it's hope nonetheless. Perhaps their greatest strength could become our lifeline. The alien invasion shattered lives and decimated cities, but amidst the devastation, stories of resilience and courage emerged. These personal accounts reveal humanity's enduring spirit, a refusal to surrender even in the face of overwhelming odds. From soldiers on the front lines to scientists in hidden labs and civilians fighting for survival, these are the stories that remind us what it means to be human. Captain Nathan Keller never imagined that his years of military training would be tested in a war against an extraterrestrial enemy. On the day the aliens unleashed their first EMP attack, Keller's unit was deployed to defend a strategic military base on the outskirts of New York. The mission was simple: hold the line until reinforcements arrived. But nothing could prepare them for what came next. We were ready for a fight, Keller recounted. Tanks, armored vehicles, air support, we had it all. Then, in an instant, it was gone. The EMP hit us like a tidal wave. Our tanks stalled, our radios went silent, and even our rifles wouldn't fire. We were sitting ducks. As alien drones descended, Keller and his unit fought with whatever they had. Improvised weapons, hand-to-hand combat, and sheer determination became their tools of survival. Keller's leadership kept his soldiers focused, but the losses were devastating. Out of a unit of 50, only 12 survived the night. We learned that day what we were up against, Keller said, his voice heavy with emotion. But we also learned something else, that we could adapt. We used the rubble for cover, scavenged alien tech for makeshift defenses, and found ways to fight back. They may have had the firepower, but we had grit. Dr. Lila Fernandez had spent her career in theoretical physics, studying concepts that many considered abstract and impractical. But when the invasion began, her expertise became humanity's lifeline. Tasked with decoding alien technology, Fernandez worked tirelessly in a hidden lab, often going days without sleep. Her breakthrough came when she analyzed a fragment of an alien plasma rifle recovered from a battlefield. Using advanced spectrometry and quantum simulations, Fernandez discovered how the aliens stabilized plasma for use as a weapon, while replicating the technology was impossible with current resources. Her findings laid the groundwork for humanity's first experimental energy weapons. There were times when I wanted to give up, Fernandez admitted. Every piece of alien tech felt like it was laughing at us, reminding us how far behind we were. But then, I think about the people out there. Soldiers, civilians, depending on us. That's what kept me going. Despite the immense pressure, Fernandez remained optimistic. She believed that every small discovery brought humanity closer to understanding the aliens, and perhaps even defeating them. Science isn't about quick fixes, she said. It's about persistence, and we're persistent if nothing else. For civilians, the invasion brought horrors that extended beyond physical destruction. Mind control devices, deployed in populated areas, turned friends and loved ones into unwilling agents of alien will. Survivors of these encounters carry psychological scars that may never heal. One such survivor, 28-year-old Sarah Malik, recounted the day her brother fell victim to a mind control device. We were hiding in a shelter when he suddenly stood up, like he was in a trance. His eyes were blank, and he just started walking toward the exit. I tried to stop him, but he pushed me aside like I was nothing. That wasn't my brother. It was like he was gone. Malik's brother was later found, his body lifeless after the device's influence wore off. The experience left her haunted, but also determined to help others. She now volunteers at a refugee camp, offering counseling to those who have lost loved ones or suffered under the device's control. Dr. Anthony Grant, a neuroscientist studying the devices, explained their horrifying efficiency. These machines don't just control behavior, they overwrite identity. Victims lose their sense of self, becoming extensions of the alien's will. It's psychological warfare at its most brutal. Despite these challenges, survivors like Malik have found ways to resist. Underground networks now distribute protective headgear designed to block the device's signals, providing civilians with a small but crucial defense against this terrifying weapon. In every corner of the globe, humanity has found ways to adapt. Engineers repurpose scrap materials to build makeshift defenses. Farmers develop underground hydroponic systems to grow food in areas ravaged by alien attacks. Communities form tight-knit support networks, pooling resources and skills to survive. One inspiring example comes from a small village in Canada, where residents used alien debris to create a water filtration system after their main supply was contaminated. The village elder, 65-year-old Amara Kofi, explained their resourcefulness. "We didn't wait for help to come. We became our own help. The aliens may have taken our homes, but they can't take our spirit. We'll rebuild no matter how many times they tear us down." These acts of resilience are a testament to humanity's ability to adapt under pressure. Even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, people find ways to endure and resist. Every small victory, a meal shared, a child comforted, a shelter fortified, is a defiance of alien domination. The invasion has revealed not just the cruelty of the aliens, but also the strength of the human spirit. Soldiers like Captain Keller continue to fight on the front lines, learning to outthink and outmaneuver an enemy with superior technology. Scientists like Dr. Fernandez push the boundaries of human knowledge, turning fragments of alien tech into tools for survival. Civilians like Sarah Malik and Amara Kofi remind us that even in the darkest times, compassion and ingenuity endure. These stories are not just tales of survival. They are a blueprint for resistance. They show that humanity's greatest weapon is not its technology or its armies, but its resilience, creativity, and determination to survive. We may be outgunned, but we are not outmatched in spirit. The aliens underestimated humanity's greatest strength, our ability to adapt, to endure, and to fight for our future. As long as we have each other, we will find a way to survive. For months, the alien invasion had been a story of overwhelming power and relentless domination. Cities fell, defenses crumbled, and humanity seemed on the brink of extinction. But in a world ravaged by destruction, a spark of hope emerged. Breaking news revealed an unprecedented development. A rebel group had managed to disable an alien weapon using reverse-engineered technology. For the first time, humanity had struck back. The announcement came during a hastily arranged broadcast by an underground communications network. The rebel group, calling themselves the Vanguard, claimed responsibility for disabling a massive alien plasma cannon stationed on the outskirts of California. The cannon, which had leveled entire neighborhoods and repelled military assaults, was rendered inoperable in a daring raid. Commander Elias Rourke, leader of the Vanguard, shared the details of their operation. "We knew the risks, but we also knew we had no other choice. Using alien technology we recovered from earlier skirmishes, we managed to create a device that disrupted their energy systems. It wasn't perfect, but it worked long enough for us to move in and take the weapon offline. The plasma cannon, a symbol of alien superiority, now lay dormant. A victory that reignited hope across the globe. Images of the disabled weapon circulated quickly, sparking celebrations in refugee camps and underground shelters. For the first time, humanity had proven that the invaders were not invincible. The alien plasma cannon was one of the most feared weapons in their arsenal. Capable of disintegrating entire buildings and vehicles with precision strikes, it had decimated every human force that dared to confront it. Disabling such a weapon was not just a tactical victory. It was a psychological triumph. Dr. Lila Fernandez, a physicist who had worked on reverse engineering alien technology, explained the significance of the breakthrough. What the Vanguard achieved is extraordinary. They didn't just disable a weapon, they sent a message. The aliens are not invincible. Their technology, as advanced as it is, has vulnerabilities. And if we can exploit one weakness, we can find others. The success also validated months of painstaking research by scientists and engineers. The device used to disrupt the cannon's energy systems was a crude adaptation of alien technology. By emitting a counter frequency that destabilized the cannon's plasma core, the device effectively shut it down. While the disruption was temporary, it provided enough time for the Vanguard to destroy key components, rendering the cannon inoperable. The victory marked a turning point in humanity's resistance, but it also raised critical questions about the future of the conflict. Could the same method be used against other alien weapons? Was this the beginning of a larger resistance, or an isolated success unlikely to be repeated? Military leaders and strategists were quick to analyze the implications. General Maria Rodriguez, who had been coordinating global defense efforts, saw the potential for scaling up the tactic. If we can replicate the technology used by the Vanguard, we might be able to neutralize other alien weapons. It's a long shot, but it's the first real strategy we've had since the invasion began. However, experts cautioned against overconfidence. The aliens' ability to adapt and counter human tactics was well documented. There was a real danger that any future attempts to disable their weapons would be met with enhanced defenses. The news of the victory spread quickly, inspiring a wave of renewed determination. Civilians, once paralyzed by fear, began organizing resistance efforts. Underground networks grew stronger, pooling resources and information to support the fight. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to replicate and improve the device used by the Vanguard. In one refugee camp, a young inventor named Malik Ibrahim began experimenting with salvaged alien parts, inspired by the success of the rebel group. They showed us it's possible, he said. Now it's up to all of us to figure out how to do it again, and better. The psychological impact of the victory was equally profound. For the first time, humanity had shifted from a purely defensive posture to one of active resistance. People who had once resigned themselves to survival now dared to dream of victory. The aliens' reaction to the plasma cannon's disablement was swift and ominous. Within hours, reconnaissance drones swarmed the area, obliterating any trace of human activity. Witnesses reported seeing alien ships deploying new types of machines. Sleeker, faster, and seemingly designed to counter the tactics used by the Vanguard. Dr. Hiroshi Takeda, a materials scientist, warned of the aliens' capacity for rapid adaptation. Every time we make progress, they respond with something more advanced. It's like playing chess against a grandmaster who always thinks 5 moves ahead. We need to anticipate their countermeasures if we're going to survive. The fear of retaliation loomed large. Could the victory provoke the aliens into escalating their attacks? Some leaders worried that the destruction of the plasma cannon might lead to harsher measures, including the deployment of even more devastating weapons. As humanity celebrated its first significant victory, a debate emerged about its true significance. Was this the beginning of a sustained resistance, or merely a temporary reprieve? Optimists pointed to the growing resilience of human communities and the increasing effectiveness of reverse-engineered technology. Skeptics, however, warned against underestimating the aliens' adaptability. Commander Rourke, reflecting on the Vanguard's achievement, offered a measured perspective. This was a win, but it's just one battle in a much larger war. We've shown them that we can fight back, but the real question is whether we can keep it up. One victory isn't enough. We need a strategy, and we need it fast. The victory had bought humanity time, but it also raised the stakes. With every success, the pressure to maintain momentum grew. For the first time, humanity had hope, but hope alone would not be enough to win the war. Despite the uncertainties, the victory brought humanity closer together. Nations that had once been divided by politics and geography found common ground in their shared struggle. Collaborations across borders became the norm as scientists, soldiers, and civilians worked toward a single goal: survival. In one symbolic moment, a coalition of engineers from 5 different countries successfully tested a prototype device designed to disrupt alien shields. Though still in its early stages, the device represented the power of collective effort, a reminder that humanity's strength lay not in its weapons, but in its unity. For the first time, we've struck back, but at what cost? As humanity stands at this fragile turning point, one thing is clear: the fight is far from over. The aliens will respond and the road ahead will be perilous. But if we can find strength in our resilience and unity, perhaps this victory will be the first of many. Here's the expanded version of the outline. with an additional 500 words, delving deeper into the battle, human ingenuity, sacrifices, and the emotional resonance of the final showdown. The world had been brought to its knees. Cities lay in ruins, and humanity had endured losses beyond comprehension. Yet, in the shadow of destruction, a global coalition emerged, united, determined, and ready for a final stand. The ultimate confrontation with the alien invaders, a battle that would decide the fate of Earth, was at hand. For the first time in history, humanity stood as one. Nations put aside centuries of conflict and mistrust, pooling resources, knowledge, and manpower to mount a coordinated defense. The effort was led by the newly formed Earth Resistance Command, ERC, headquartered in an underground facility beneath the Swiss Alps. General Maria Rodriguez, the ERC's commanding officer, described the monumental challenge. We had to think beyond borders and egos. This was about survival, pure and simple. Every nation contributed, from cutting-edge technology to the bravery of its people. This was humanity's war. In preparation for the final battle, ERC strategists orchestrated a multi-layered offensive involving land, air, and cyber operations. Engineers developed makeshift energy disruptors to counter alien shields, while intelligence teams mapped out the weak points in the invaders' defenses. Every available resource, from military satellites to civilian hackers, was mobilized to ensure the operation's success. A network of underground factories churned out modified weapons and reinforced vehicles. Plasma rifles, energy-resistant armor, and advanced drones became the backbone of the human forces. Civilians joined the effort, producing supplies, repairing equipment, and offering logistical support. The world had transformed into a singular, determined war machine. The chosen battlefield was a barren desert in North Africa, far from civilian populations but strategically significant due to its proximity to a massive alien fortress. This structure, believed to house the invaders' central command, was heavily fortified and defended by legions of drones and advanced weaponry. As dawn broke, the desert was alive with activity. Human forces, bolstered by experimental weapons and reinforced vehicles, prepared for what many believed would be their last battle. Above, the alien ships hovered, their dark forms casting ominous shadows over the landscape. Among the human forces were soldiers armed with prototype plasma rifles, engineers operating mobile shield generators, and pilots flying modified aircraft designed to evade alien targeting systems. Civilians, too, played their part, providing logistical support and operating the communication networks that kept the resistance connected. The battle began with a deafening roar as alien plasma cannons fired from the fortress, their beams carving through the desert sands and obliterating everything in their path. Human forces responded with a barrage of missiles and artillery, but the alien shields absorbed the initial onslaught with ease. Alien drones, sleek and deadly, descended upon the human lines, unleashing chaos. These autonomous machines, equipped with adaptive AI, proved to be formidable adversaries. They dodged human weapons with uncanny precision, counterattacking with energy-based projectiles that decimated entire squads. Captain Nathan Keller, leading a ground unit, described the chaos. It felt like we were fighting ghosts. Every time we thought we had the upper hand, they adapted, but we didn't stop. We couldn't stop. The aliens also deployed atmospheric manipulation devices, triggering localized sandstorms that disoriented human forces and disrupted communication. Soldiers fought blind, relying on instinct and coordination to navigate the chaos. Despite these challenges, the human lines held, refusing to break. Amid the carnage, humanity's ingenuity began to shine. Reverse-engineered alien devices, crude but effective, turned the tide in critical moments. Portable EMP disruptors, designed to disable alien drones, allowed infantry units to gain crucial footholds. Plasma cannons mounted on modified tanks provided much-needed firepower, piercing through alien defenses. One pivotal moment came when a team of engineers, led by Dr. Leela Fernandez, managed to activate a prototype energy shield generator. The shield, though unstable, provided a temporary haven for human forces, allowing them to regroup and launch a counteroffensive. Dr. Fernandez later reflected on the breakthrough. That shield wasn't just a piece of technology. It was hope made tangible. It reminded us that we could stand up to them. In the skies, modified aircraft equipped with cloaking technology executed daring maneuvers to target alien ships. Pilot Elena Martinez described her mission. We had one shot to disable their main power relay. My squadron knew the odds, but we went anyway. When you're fighting for your planet, fear doesn't have room to breathe. The final showdown was defined not just by technology, but by the courage and sacrifice of countless individuals. Stories of heroism emerged from every corner of the battlefield. Private Sarah Malik, armed with a plasma rifle, single-handedly held off a wave of alien drones to protect a group of injured soldiers. Though wounded herself, she fought relentlessly until reinforcements arrived. Her actions saved dozens of lives and inspired her unit to press forward. Commander Elias Rourke of the Vanguard led a covert team into the alien fortress, sacrificing himself to detonate a bomb that disrupted the invaders' central communications network. His final transmission to the resistance became a rallying cry. This is our home. Fight for it. Fight for each other. These acts of bravery reminded humanity of its greatest strength, the will to endure and protect one another, even in the face of annihilation. The aliens, caught off guard by humanity's newfound capabilities, responded with devastating force. Their ships deployed a weapon never before seen, a massive gravitational field generator that crushed everything within its radius. Buildings crumbled, vehicles imploded, and even the Earth itself seemed to buckle under the strain. Dr. Hiroshi Takeda, observing the effects from a command center, warned of the weapon's implications. They're throwing everything they have at us. This is their endgame. If we don't stop them now, we never will. In a desperate bid to neutralize the generator, a coalition of human forces launched a coordinated strike. Using every resource at their disposal, they managed to overload the generator, causing a chain reaction that destroyed a significant portion of the alien fleet. The explosion lit up the night sky, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. As the battle raged on, the aliens began to retreat. Their losses, combined with the disruption of their command structure, forced them to abandon key positions. The human forces, battered but unbroken, pressed forward, reclaiming territory that had been lost for months. Survivors gathered to reflect on what they had achieved. The battlefield, though littered with debris and scarred by destruction, was a testament to humanity's resilience. Against all odds, the invaders had been pushed back, not by superior technology, but by the indomitable will of the human spirit. In one refugee camp, civilians celebrated the victory by lighting makeshift lanterns, symbolizing the light of hope in a world still shrouded in darkness. Their actions served as a reminder that even in the direst circumstances, humanity's spirit could not be extinguished. The tools of their domination may have brought us to the brink, but it is our will to fight that defines our survival. Humanity has endured not because of its weapons, but because of its spirit. This is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where we stand united, ready to face whatever comes next. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and share it so more people can experience this incredible journey. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please let us know in the comments below. Your support gives us the strength to create more content for you. We bring new videos to you every day, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you tomorrow with another exciting radio broadcast and a brand new story. Thank you.